Hey, good afternoon. I hope that you're doing well. One of the things that we're going to be talking about today, or the main thing that we're going to be talking about today, is turning browsers into buyers. And this is part of our month-long challenge, really all around the customer journey. So right now I'm looking because I want to make sure I'm going live. I need to be able to hear myself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to share my screen because otherwise I can talk myself. Here we go. We're going to share. You should be able to see. And it looks like everything that we've seen. Okay. We're going to start here at the very beginning. Now we should be able to see the slides, which we do. All right. So let's, because I like to be respectful of your time. Okay. So here's what we're going to be covering: how to stand out in a crowded market, even though you're an introvert. And I am 100% raising my hand because I'm very much of an introvert. You know, one of the things that was really happening kind of behind the scenes is there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, life, right? And so one of the things around feeling foggy brain and making all of those decisions about life is that I can't stop working in the business. But what helps me when life is lifing, which life's every day, right, is that I have these repeatable processes. And I'm putting the flag in the sand. If you don't have repeatable processes, it's 10 times harder to run your business. You will not be able to grow and or scale if you're keeping everything in your head. You have to have the documented, repeatable processes. And part of really turning a browser into buyer is all about being consistent with the content that you are using, whether it's paid or organic, to attract your dream customer. And the reason I said how to stand out in a crowded market, even if you're an introvert, if you have a system that you plug into, and I'm going to go through step by step here how to complete this, then it doesn't matter if you're an introvert. It doesn't matter if you're an extrovert. What matters is the repeatable process that helps keep you consistent. So this number 2, simplify your system, multiply your reach. We're going to be talking about that. I've really simplified it. Make it an easy yes anytime, like being open 24/7, right? So if we haven't met, I'm Rhonda Melogy. I built and sold a business while homeschooling and graduating all 4 of my children. We're getting ready, actually. So one has graduated college, one is graduating college next week, and 2 are still in college. But I call myself a soccer mom because my daughter, who's getting ready to graduate, it was her goal, lifelong goal, ever since she was itty bitty, to have a Division I scholarship to play soccer. And that's exactly what she did. So military, we're a military family. My husband has served in the military 27, 28 years now. He's a helicopter pilot. And I love doing everything outside. So like fall, winter, kind of spring, summer, like all the seasons, because I live here in the South, I can go kayaking and hiking, especially hiking. Love hiking. Hammock swinging, I do that when I go to the beach. And call it a midlife crisis. She's my golden doodle, Sibby Sue. I am a golden doodle lover. Never thought I would. I've always had large breed dogs. So we've had English Mastiffs Mabel, who broke my heart. I mean, she was 180 pounds. So she's a small lap dog, right? That's at least what she thought. But really the only way that I was able to do all of these things, right? I wanted to build a business. I never thought it was in the cards for me to sell a business, which I think is really interesting. Like, it's a whole interesting process. But I wanted to stay at home. And as a family, we decided to homeschool. I wanted to travel with Maggie all of the places that we went to for her to play soccer and get that scholarship. And as a military spouse, I mean, flexibility is the rule, right? Because they go off on deployments. And then 2, really making space and time for myself. The only way I could do all of that is to create these really simple systems that would support my life and support my business. I think that when we talk about systems in business, it feels very overwhelming and complicated. What systems do I need? How do I get started? And the way that I like to explain it is, like, we use systems, and processes, whether we recognize them or not. One of the most consistent systems that we've ever implemented as a family, 15 years, and that chore chart. There were 4 simple tasks that had to be completed every single day, or my house literally fell apart. And it was just convenient those 4 tasks, I had 4 children. And what came out of that system is that they know how to take care of themselves. They know how to do laundry and clean and take care of animals and do the dishes and just, be functioning human beings like in society, right? And what it's like when they are a part of a team and someone doesn't complete a task, or when they are a part of a team and someone needs help. I mean, there were just so many valuable lessons that came out of that very simple life system. You can make your systems as complicated or as simple really as you want them to be. I help busy business owners who are drowning in tasks and starving for time. A lot of times folks that come and when they work with me, they'll say, if I had more time, I would be more successful. And I flip that statement and say that instead of having more time, because we'll always fill that time with work, is that we focus on the right task with the time that you have. Because I didn't have the luxury of time. We're homeschooling. We live in a very small town. Anything that we would do, like with the kids in terms of soccer and stuff, initially was a 45-minute drive there and a 45-minute drive back 3 times a week, plus weekend travel. Now, when Maggie went and she was in ECNL, it was an hour and a half, 2-hour drive one way, practice for an hour and a half, and that drive back twice a week. And so like there was no time. And so I had to fit the task that would make the biggest impact within the time that I had. And that's what I share. I really help business owners, if I'm being honest, create repeatable processes. So we're going to talk about really quickly how to stand out in a crowded market, even as an introvert. So the way that we do that is we stand out by showing up, and we do that consistently. So here are those repeatable processes which are key to consistency. Number 1, removes the guesswork. So if number 1, you're an introvert, so that means I'm going to just raise my hand because I'm talking about myself. We tend to be more quiet, right? We're the quiet ones in the room. We're kind of off in the corner. But when steps are written down, it is a framework that we step into. Like, I don't have to think about it. I know this needs to be done, and I need it to be consistent. Like every single week I have to show up whether I feel like it or not. So having a repeatable process, it removes any of the guesswork. Well, am I going to do this? Well, am I going to go there? What am I going to talk about this week? Delivers the same quality every single time. A documented process keeps your standards high and your output consistent, whether it's you or your team hitting publish. And so when we start documenting our process for content, mine has evolved tremendously, I'm going to say, over the past 6 months. We start with one place, one piece, and we implement. And the first few times that I do it, to be honest with you, I just do it. And then I need to see it, just like my kids, and all of the ways that they were different types of learners. Like Jack is a very kinetic learner. Ander is kinetic and auditory. Maggie is more visual. And Thomas is kind of a combination. So I had very different, and boys are different from girls, right? And so learning all of the different learning styles, it's the same thing when it comes to documenting the processes in your business. If we keep everything here, you can do that. You can only do that for so long, though. And most of the time when people get to me, it's just like they feel like they're being drugged behind the car, right? Because they're just so overwhelmed with all of the tasks that need to get done. I need to stay consistent. How can I stay consistent when I feel overwhelmed? If I feel overwhelmed, I don't feel like showing up. And so having a documented process for your content allows you a little bit of grace of no matter what's kind of going on, that you can be consistent, right? It frees up mental space. One of my members, one of the things that she said is, it was EJ. She said, in the beginning, I felt really weird documenting a process. But I'm like, you know what? Rhonda keeps harping on it. And I've taken micro steps with her and they've worked out. So I'm just going to do it. And she did it. And her aha moment was the next time that she needed to do that process was that she didn't have to make all of those micro decisions to complete that task. And it was easier to implement. And every single time that you implement it, you get faster. I can remember back when I rented an Airbnb. I was a coach for a program and I arrived a few days early. And the idea was that I was going to arrive a few days early and I was going to batch record multiple YouTube videos. At the end of the day, I tried that perfectionism. I recorded, I re-recorded, I said the same thing like 50 different times, and I left with 0 videos. So there has been several iterations of that process. Now I just stream live on YouTube. But this process, even this content process, all in, I can record a podcast episode. I can chop that up very quickly. I can write notes. I can write emails. I can schedule posts. I can do all of that. And there's so many pieces of content that can be created from just one on one platform, mind you, because we know with Facebook, you've got Facebook posts, you've got Facebook stories, and you've got Facebook reels. That's 3 just right there, right? And you can say it different ways using AI. You can say the same thing 10 different ways and publish, right? Especially if you're typing, writing them out. So I rented a space to batch record and left with nothing. Now, each week, as part of a content task that I have, I can get it done within an hour or less. And if I know, like next week, it's a short week for me. So I am quote unquote batching. So I've got next week, but then I have the week after that already completed and done. So it's scheduled and it's all ready to go. The only way that I could do that, and it's really like my schedule, my life schedule is kind of dictating, okay, now implement this system and let's implement this system quicker. Whether I'm feeling good that day or not feeling good that day, I have a process that tells me step by step exactly what I need to do. And it's certainly with all of the things that are going on. I mean, yesterday it was like from 8:30 to 9, it was like super quiet. At 9 o'clock, it was a firestorm between the guys here working on the house, some things that were going on with my youngest, some things that were going on with my oldest. Oh, it was Maggie's birthday yesterday. Daniel didn't go into later because he was flying last night. I mean, it just was like, what is happening right now? It's just this perfect storm. So the clarity consistency loop is write it down once and use it again and again. And it helps you to stop second guessing yourself every step of the way, right? So it doesn't matter introvert, extrovert. Extroverts, yeah, you could probably go more on the fly. But I'm speaking more towards the introverts. Like in terms of showing up consistently, it is that documented, repeated process. And it's not like, don't overcomplicate this and be on 50 platforms and have the SOP and let that be the friction point that stops you. Just record the content. And we're going to get into that in the next step. Record the content, put it through the repeatable process, schedule it, and be done. You can always add to it. Always add to it. When I was working with Chelsea, we first started and she had an SOP. By the time it was all said and done, that SOP for fulfillment for her customers were 650 steps. That didn't start out as 650 steps. And if I'm being honest, when I was writing out a fulfillment process, I'm like, man, she's got 650 steps. I don't have that many. What am I missing? Started asking myself that. Multiply your system, multiply your reach. So what am I talking about? It's that visibility flywheel. Start with what your customer is already asking. Content does not have to be difficult. Whatever your customer is asking, and I've always said this with business, when I ask myself a question and I'm always able to go, oh, well, here's the answer. If things are complicated, I talk a lot about like your shoulders being earrings up here. And it's like, I don't know what to say in my content. I'm looking at social media and their content is so much better than mine. How am I going to stand out in this really crowded market of online business owners? What is it that you do? And who is it that you serve? And how do you serve them? Okay, go find those people. And you can find these people in Facebook groups. They're asking questions all the time. So don't overthink it. Answer one real question your customer has. That's what they're Googling at night. There is so much content ideas in